Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So you probably have been following what's been going on with UST, how it just depegged and crashed from $1, its $1 peg, all the way to 20 cents. And while it might be going back up a little bit, uh, one keeps wondering, what is the safest stablecoin? Because if you have your money in crypto, you always need to put some amount in stablecoins. So we're going to be comparing different stablecoins, and especially considering that the safety of them, they're pegged to the US dollar, and a few other features. So we're going to be discussing this. This is kind of a follow-up of an old video where we were comparing stablecoins. So hopefully this is going to be interesting to you. And without further ado, let's get started. And yes, we are here because most of the algorithmic stablecoins like UST or USDN or any other algorithmic stablecoin are going through a crash, which means that if you had $10 invested in one of them, thinking they will always be worth $10,000, you woke up today to realize those $10,000 converted into $2,000, and while now they're up at $4,000 or $5,000. You're still losing 50% of your investment, which was supposed to be safe and stable. So I have prepared a little presentation so we can follow along and try to figure out which one is the safest of all the stablecoins. So follow me. Okay, here we are. So this is basically a review of the safest stablecoins. We're going to be comparing this for, and we're going to be briefly touching on algorithmic stablecoins and why if you're looking for safety, they're not the best option. So mainly, why are we using stablecoins? Where it's a good way to cash out of crypto. So if you want to sell your Bitcoin at some point, or sell even your Luna or any other token, before sending them back to your bank, it's easier to convert them into stablecoins and then sending them to your bank. Of course, they are a good substitute for traditional USD transfers. So if you are doing remittances from the US or any other country to your original country, those are a great way. And we've seen this in action in Ukraine. And of course, they're supposed to be a volatility haven. So crypto is really volatile, and we've seen Bitcoin go from $64,000, $65,000 all the way to $29,000 today. So that's a huge drop of more than 50%, and stablecoins are supposed to prevent that volatility from happening. Now, there are three main types of stablecoins, and I'm going to go skim briefly to this as a reminder. We have the ones that are backed by real-world collateral, like the ones we're going to be reviewing today. Some, like DAI, are backed by crypto collateral. So it means that they could potentially buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, any more different kind of crypto as a backup when a token tries to depeg. And finally, no collateral. That's like UST because they're not backed by anything. There's just an algorithm trying to compensate for the volatility in order to maintain the peg. Of course, the safest ones would be the ones backed by real-world collateral, but there are differences between those tokens, and we're going to be talking about why some of them might be safer than others. Then the next best option would be crypto-based collateral, but let's say we see a crash from Bitcoin on Bitcoin from $30,000 to $10,000, then that collateral is not as good as real dollars. I mean, Bitcoin could always go back up, but if it goes down, then the collateral is not as good. And then, of course, the worst type, and we've known that firsthand since last night and 2 days previous, where UST has been failing. No collateral is not a good option if you're looking for safety. Okay, so first let's review USDT. That's the most commonly used stablecoin. And here's the thing we need to know. Okay, the owner is iFinex Inc., which is basically Bitfinex. It's one of the original exchanges right after Mt. Gox. We know that Mt. Gox ended up with a big exploit and a lot of money was lost there. Unfortunately, Bitfinex is not that case. But here's the thing about USDT, and although they have mentioned they're going to be changing what backs their USDT crypto right now, or at least in the last thing they publish is this, what you see in this chart. So 65% of their backing of the collateral is commercial paper. So this is not real USD bills or dollars. This is the debt in USD. So what if the people or the companies that issue this commercial paper stop paying? Then the collateral is not as good. Then they have a fiduciary deposit, better. Only 3.87% of the backing of the collateral is real cash. And then they have reverse repo notes, which are notes traded between banks. And then treasury bills, which, I mean, yeah, they're not bad. They're debt issued by the Fed, so or the US Treasury. So in general, if there's a big financial crash and the companies that issued commercial paper stop paying, then this collateral is not really that good. I mean, it's not as bad as no collateral. Don't take that wrongly. But USDT doesn't seem to me as the best option. Now, let's see, because currently we are concerned about the peg of the stablecoins, right? Because of what's going on with UST. So USDT, we see that in the last 6 months, it's been going up and down, which is kind of normal in stablecoins. It's gone as low as, I think, 80 cents. And then the same day it goes back up. These are our daily their daily bars. Right now, it seems like the depegging was trying to be forced by whoever, and but it's back at 99 cents per dollar. So the peg is not so bad. We're going to be seeing other pegs of other stablecoins, but in terms of peg, it's not so bad. So what is the rating I can give this token? Well, the main use is that it's widely available in most blockchains. So if you want to trade in Avalanche or any other non mainstream blockchain, then most possibly USDT is going to be available. As compared to the others, they're only available in a few of them. So it's fully backed. I will give it a 3, still a 3, as it was in the previous video, because they have not updated this information, and still, if they're using commercial paper, I'm not entirely happy about that. So if commercial paper fails, then the peg will fail. Transparency, they are not known for liking audits. They say they're coming up with an audit, but while that happens, still, we're going to give them a 3. USD peg, I think it's reasonable. What we see there in the graph, it's reasonable. So let's give them a 5. And risk, I think, while it's not as risky as algorithmic stablecoins, the fact that a crash comes and we know what's happening with the US economy makes it risky. I mean, not entirely risky, but more risky than the other options we're going to be reviewing today. So I'll give them 3.8 star, which is pretty much what they had in the previous video. Second stablecoin we're going to be comparing for safety is USDC. And the owner is Circle Inc. and they're based in the USA. Something I missed saying is that USDT, the company, is based in the Virgin Islands, and those are known for shady companies. I mean, not always, but a number of shady companies based their headquarters there. So one thing we like to see is that 61% of their backing is cash and cash equivalent, so that's good. Then they have certificate of deposits, 13%. Yeah, that's not bad. 12% of US Treasury, so that's US government debt. It's hard to foresee that the US wouldn't pay their debt. I mean, they have a lot of debt right now, but I think it's reasonable to have that. Commercial paper, this is the riskier part. And corporate bonds, those could default, but compared to USDT, this is less of a concern. And then they have municipal bonds and US agencies. So sometimes municipal bonds will stop paying on their debt in the US, but it's just a tiny fraction. So I think the backing in general is much safer than USDT. And this is their peg. The peg works much better than USDT, I guess, because people trust more, because the company is based in the US. Since they're in the US, they must fulfill a lot of requirements, legal requirements, and they're backed by better collateral. So ratings, it's not as widely available as USDT, but still it is available, and it's been growing there. Its adoption has been growing in different chains. So I'll give them a 4. It's fully backed. I mean, not entirely. It's not 1-to-1 to $1, but it's still much better than USDT. So I'll give them a 4. Transparency 4, because they are in the US, and that by itself has them obligated to fulfill legal reports, right? So that's much better. USD peg, I'll give them a 5. I'm not concerned about depegging, unless they there's a big crisis and companies default on their commercial paper and the bonds, the corporate bonds. So I don't see that happening anytime soon. So we'll stay with 5. Risk is less riskier. We'll give them a 4, and all in all, I'll give them a 4.2 stars. And then we have the USD, and what used to be known as Paxos USD, they recently renamed to USDP, and both I bunched them together because both are created by Paxos. So we're going to speak about that. One thing I love about this too is that at least as of June 2021, so that's almost a year ago, in their last report, 96% of their collateral was cash or cash equivalents. So that is infinitely better than the other alternatives. And 4% US Treasury bills, which is US debt. That's, I think, much better than corporate debt. So in terms of backing, I think this is a much better option. They're also located in the US. So same thing, they still have to fulfill all the requirements to be a US-based company that handles billions, if not almost, well, not trillions, but many billions of US dollars. So this is the peg graph, and as you can see, I mean, it's pretty stable, guys. Right now it's at 1. That's the only stablecoin that is at 1 for the most of the time. It can go a little bit low as 99 cents. But we've seen USDT and USDC go to 80 cents even. So this has not happened with USDP. And of course, BUSD, which is created and maintained by Paxos, same thing. So let's see, in terms of rating, it's not as available, especially Paxos. It's hard to find in different chains. Of course, if you go to Binance, you will be able to buy and sell it. Because that's they're associated, right? Paxos and Binance. But if you go to other exchanges or other L1s, it's going to be hard to find this. It's fully backed. I'll give them a 5 out of 5. This is, in my view, one of the safest alternatives to put your tokens if you're looking for US dollar stablecoins. Transparency 5. They're very transparent. They have their audits frequently. USD peg, it's one of the best. And risk, I'll give them a 5. 5 is less riskier. And overall, I'll give them 4.6 stars, which is the average, making this one of the safest alternatives. So guys, right now, everyone is scared about what's going on with UST. They're wondering, will USDT depeg? Well, it's more probable that USDT might depeg, not as hard as it's happening with UST, but as you can see, if their commercial paper defaults, then the peg will be lost. These guys don't have USDP or BUSD, don't have that issue. And they're more transparent, and they're based in the US. And so being in the US, they're going to be regulated real soon, because Janet Yellen actually just said that she just spoke about UST and the DPEG, and she says regulations are coming, and you cannot regulate company outside of the US. So then we have DAI, and this is the last alternative. They are owned by basically everyone who is part of the DAO, and they were founded by Maker. And what I like about them is that they are 100% over collateralized, at least that's what they say. So that means that if they are issuing, let's say, $1 million in DAI, they have 1,500,000 in collateral, be that any other token. This is their peg. Curiously, it works much better than USDT and USDC in general. Of course, we've seen these lows here, but these aren't as low as we've seen in the other first two tokens. So the peg works pretty much as it should, and not as good as USDP, but anyway, or BUSD. So rating. It's more available than BUSD or USDP. It's fully backed, well, yes, by crypto collateral. So it's fully backed plus 50%. Unless there's a huge crash in crypto, I don't think it's going to be a concern. Transparency, we'll give them a 5. They're transparent, they're a DAO, they're on the blockchain. USD peg, I'll give them a 4, although it could near 5, but I'll give them a 4 because as compared to USDP, their peg history is not as good. Risk, I'll give them a 4 because if there is a crypto market crash, a strong one, the collateral might not be enough. So I'll give them a 4.4 average, which is pretty good. So conclusions, guys. Now that everyone is scared and they're wondering what they should do with their USD stablecoins, I would, at least for the time being, since everything is kind of unstable, I will look for the best, safest alternative. And to me, that is BUSD or USDP, which is Paxos. Now, you won't be able to find them anywhere, but there are on Binance and in a few other places like NEXO. I think they carry a BUSD or USDP, one of those two. So, and they will pay you interest on top of that. So, and if you're interested in that, I'm going to leave an NEXO link in the description of this video, so you can check that. If you register with them using that link, you'll get $25 for free, and I'll get that too. So that will be amazing. I hope this video was useful to you guys. If it was, do like it, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel to keep getting more information like this. See you in the next video. Bye-bye now.